If you're new to raw feeding or thinking about getting started, then you're making an amazing choice for your pet's health and longevity. Raw diets provide so many amazing benefits, but there are some common beginner mistakes that can cause issues down the line. Even I made some of these mistakes when I was just starting out. But I stuck with it. And now, after 9 years of raw feeding my pets, I want to help you avoid these common raw feeding mistakes. Starting with mistake number 1, cutting off the fat. Meat naturally has fat on it. Look at a pork chop or steak. See all the white? That's fat. But many pet owners cut it off, thinking that they're doing the right thing. In reality, removing the fat could actually cause some health issues in your pet. Oftentimes, new raw feeders trim off the fat because we've been taught that for humans, fat leads to weight gain and health problems. So it's easy to assume that the same applies to our pets. But does it really? Well, it's true that too much fat can cause weight gain, but does this mean that it should all be trimmed off? Actually, no. Fat isn't just empty calories, it's a vital part of your pet's diet. It provides essential fatty acids that keep their skin and coat healthy, supplies essential vitamins like vitamin D and E, and is their ideal energy source. If you feed a diet without any fat, your pet will develop skin and coat problems, lose too much weight, and even experience organ problems. So leave some fat on the meat. The only time it's okay to trim fat is if you're already including plenty of fatty cuts. For example, if you're feeding chicken wings with skin, pork brain, which is very fatty, and 15% fat ground beef, you can trim a little fat from the other muscle meats. But that's it. Number 2, adding a bunch of unnecessary supplements. Before my puppy Matsu came home, I dove deep into raw feeding research. I read raw feeding articles, asked tons of questions on raw feeding forums, and watched as many videos as I could on how to raw feed, though there weren't many at the time. Along with that, I also looked at a ton of photos of raw meals that people shared online. The bowls looked so vibrant and inviting, filled with all of these different powders and supplements, and the benefits sounded too good to ignore. I ended up buying a lot of supplements, from turmeric powder to spirulina to coconut oil. But as I was preparing his first week of raw meals, I began to wonder if I was actually going overboard with all of these supplements. Before mixing them in, I researched more into their purpose and when they should and shouldn't be fed. I wished I'd done this before buying them because it turned out they were completely unnecessary for a puppy. These supplements weren't meant to provide essential nutrients to the diet. They're for specific situations like reducing inflammation or removing toxins from the body. Your focus should be on whole food ingredients that provide essential nutrients to your pet's diet. Don't blindly buy a supplement just because it's in another pet's meal. Look into what its purpose is and see if it's actually necessary for your pet. In general, all the nutrients that your pet needs will come from whole foods, not powdered supplements. Number 3, switching your pet to raw too quickly. I can't tell you how many pet owners have told me that their pet just can't digest raw food. It's incredibly sad because, in reality, the issue is often just how raw food is introduced. When I ask how they switched their pet to raw, they often tell the same story. They switched their pet to raw within a day or two, and soon after, their pet had diarrhea. They were frightened by their pet getting sick and assumed that their pet just couldn't handle raw food. But if we look closer at how these pet owners introduced raw food, you might notice something. These pets have eaten the same dry or canned food every day for years. And then one day, they're suddenly given raw meat, bone, and organs. That's a huge change. Their digestive system isn't instantly ready for it. And that's what causes GI upset. Why? Well, a pet who's only eaten commercial food has gut bacteria and digestive enzymes tailored to that food. So when you switch abruptly to a new food, their body needs time to adjust to the new proteins, fats, and other ingredients. So are they having digestive issues because they can't handle raw food? No, it's just that their system wasn't prepared. Instead of switching to a fully raw meal immediately, start small. Offer a little lean white meat alongside their usual food for a few days. Then gradually increase their raw food and decrease their old food over 1 to 2 weeks. Add raw ingredients one at a time until they're fully eating a raw meal. Number 4, letting your vet scare you out of feeding raw. Your vet is someone that you want to trust with your pet's health. But the problem is, many vets warn against raw diets. And this can create tension when you believe that raw food is the best diet for your pet. Unfortunately, vets aren't taught much when it comes to canine and feline nutrition, especially homemade raw diets. Their education focuses more on commercial, dry, and canned food, particularly veterinary brands. A common concern that vets have with raw diets is that the bacteria in it could make you or your pet sick. I remember hearing this myself when I worked at a veterinary hospital. I wanted to argue, but instead, I agreed with my vet. I acknowledged that raw food can carry bacteria, which made her more open to hearing me out. I explained the precautions that I take, like preparing the food in a separate area, using dedicated tools, and keeping the meat frozen until feeding, and that really eased her worries. Your vet may also say that raw diets are not nutritionally complete and balanced. A pet owner recently told me that their vet raised this concern. The vet had seen unbalanced homemade diets lead to deficiencies, which made them wary. And after learning this, the pet owner knew how to gain their vet's trust. She explained the extensive research she had done on her dog's nutrient needs, how she formulated meals, and the variety of foods that she fed to ensure that the diet provided all the right nutrients. And this was all that it took to reassure her vet. So don't let your vet scare you out of feeding raw. Take their concerns seriously, but come prepared with proof that you've done your research and know how to raw feed safely. Number 5, becoming overwhelmed and quitting. Many new raw feeders feel intimidated by all the information out there. They feel that they need to instantly memorize every ingredient and balance every meal down to the gram. And they fear that if they don't, their pet might get sick. But please remember this, you don't have to make everything perfect. You just need to start. Yes, you should learn what nutrients your pet needs and which foods provide them. But do you need to learn every single thing that I've learned in my 9 years of raw feeding before you begin? Absolutely not. Even I'm still learning new things. It's okay if you don't have all the answers on day 1. It's okay if you make some mistakes. The most important thing is that you're willing to learn and improve over time. If you start feeling overwhelmed, you've always got my videos to help answer your questions and walk you through your raw feeding journey. If you're not sure where to start, this video might be a good place.